Good morning, folks. The Real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 Studios in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I thought we'd do another quick update on Hurricane Lane. Again, still a very formidable hurricane, Cat 4. It's about 335 miles south-southeast of Honolulu, again, where I grew up as a kid in Kaneohe on Oahu. So it's about 335 miles just off the screen here. The track here, again, I'd be not a huge lot of changes from yesterday's discussion that we had. Looks like its closest point is probably Oahu, 70 miles, maybe about 90 miles from Kauai. 125 miles from Lanai, 150 miles from Maui, and 160 miles from Kona on Hawaii. So Cat 4 weakening to a Cat 2 as it gets south of Hawaii, a strong Cat 1. Still would probably be one of the strongest hurricanes Oahu's ever seen. As a kid in 1982, I remember Hurricane Eva, which went about 100 miles away, and that was just a pretty weak storm compared to this storm. And we still had major damage. If anyone remembers 82 in Hawaii, with Hurricane Eva, had a lot of impact. So this one certainly has a lot of impact, and the difference this time is that you're right on this right front quadrant of a hurricane, which is the most dangerous part because of surge, winds, and that's affecting the major population areas of Honolulu and Waikiki and Pearl Harbor area. So probably about as worse. Again, obviously if it went straight into Oahu, that'd be catastrophic, but at this point it looks like it'll be just south. Still a lot of damage expected in the Oahu area. The problem with hurricanes in the Pacific is just not a lot of model data. So I take a grain of salt with these hurricane model tracks. You know, one takes it slamming in toward Maui, two go right through Oahu, two go through Kauai. The consensus it'll stay south of the islands with most of the models. In terms of intensity, it shows Oahu a strong Cat 1, maybe a Cat 2, south of Oahu by, again, about 70 miles. Again, take this with a grain of salt. What they've done is they've taken the NOAA hurricane hunter planes that are typically in the Atlantic. They've actually flown them out to Hawaii so they can actually fly through. This is a NOAA plane the other day flying. You see the stadium effect of the eye wall of Hurricane Lane. So it's flying through at this point it was a Cat 5. Right now it's a Cat 4. So God bless these folks that are brave enough to fly through the middle of a major hurricane. So again, this gives us more data into the models, and that's very important. So it helps, but again, still a very minimal amount of data out there. So you got to be very careful with these. This is the official track, again, what we showed earlier. Just have to be careful with that because it's been adjusting. So again, if anywhere from Maui to Oahu, for sure looks to have pretty high risk for pretty significant damage, power outages, flooding, and the like. This is another NOAA product, again, showing the timing of the event, which again, pretty much Thursday night to Friday night into Saturday morning is the biggest impact for probably most likely, again, the Lanai, Oahu, and maybe to even a lesser extent, Kauai. Looking at the current satellite here this morning, again, it's starting to make that right turn toward the north. This is a little unusual that it's doing this, but very unusual actually, because again, we haven't had, these have been two Cat 5s in the last 100 plus years, this close to Hawaii. John in 94, or a bunch in 94, so this is very unusual to be this close to the Hawaiian Islands for such a major hurricane. Looking at the wave heights here, again, we can see that the waves are still about 20, 25 feet in the center of the hurricane. So the challenge here we're going to have for Honolulu is that you have a tidal surge. You've got the winds coming this way, so you're just piling up water against the Hawaiian Islands. They act kind of as a barrier to some extent. There's gaps between the islands, obviously, but it is going to allow for a surge. You're not going to get the huge surge right in the hurricane eye wall if that doesn't come on land. But just to the right of that, and folks, again, Honolulu is our biggest concern. Quite honestly, Honolulu, Waikiki, probably going to have the greatest impact in terms of tidal surge. Looking again back at the distance, so again, the hurricane, you have the winds coming this way, the movement of the storm is this way. All the good news, bad news, the storm's very slow, but that is actually allowing the tidal surge to build up on this side. If you're on this side, the waters are actually going away from you. So that's unfortunately not impacting. All the islands are pretty much getting in the surge side of the hurricane here. So again, this is the area of concern here is Oahu. And again, if you just look at this massive urban population, there's about 1 million plus people obviously living in this area of Honolulu, Waikiki, Pearl Harbor, up against these 2,000, 3,000 foot Koloa mountains. So they're used to 200 inches of rain up in here. There's not going to be a lot of flooding issues there. The concern with the rainfall would be these urban areas where you could have flash flooding. The bigger concern, I think, outside of the rain is really is going to be the winds. They're certainly going to be knocking out the power to the island. Is the storm surge. You've got probably a 2 to 3 foot at least tidal lift just because of the hurricane constantly bringing in a southeast wind flow into this area. Big 10 to 15 foot waves on top of that. So again, there's a surge of 2 to 3 feet and then waves of 10 to 15 feet. And then to compound that, we have a full moon, nearly a full moon, about 95% nearly full moon Friday night. And not a lot of folks have talked about this. This is very significant. If it's, you've got one of the biggest tidal surges just because of the moon of about 2.2 feet. So moon tide, storm surge tide, waves on top of that, you certainly have a lot of impact here to the Waikiki Beach. Again, I grew up there, got married there. This is Waikiki Beach. Again, you can see just how it's sea level, so you can't bring in, 10 foot plus at least surges. I mean, water will go over the Hilton Hawaiian Village there in Waikiki Beach. Dukes is probably just a few feet above sea level. So a lot of this flooding due to tidal surge is very concerning. You can see how this bay is, this concave configuration. That's the worst scenario for a storm that's going to the left of this area here. So it brings the surge right into this Waikiki Beach. So again, God bless these folks. Be safe. Again, the worst is going to be tomorrow. Friday is definitely going to be a deteriorating day. God bless you folks. Stay safe, hunker down, and we'll maybe have another update tomorrow.